New Jersey has been home to some of the most powerful figures in the underworld, individuals who built vast networks, controlled entire territories, and operated in secrecy while law enforcement worked tirelessly to bring them down. Their influence ran deep, shaping entire communities and leaving a lasting impact on the streets. Some climbed the ranks through strategy and force, while others ruled with fear, making them nearly untouchable. Their operations stretched far beyond what most could imagine, bringing in fortunes while staying steps ahead of the law. But no empire lasts forever. This is a look at the most notorious figures who once held New Jersey in their grasp. Who were they? How did they rise? And what ultimately led to their downfall? Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind these powerful and feared masterminds. Number 4. Keith Heard. Keith Heard was a central figure in a world that operated in the shadows. Born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, Heard grew up in an environment where opportunities were scarce, and survival often meant navigating a complex web of challenges. Over time, he became a prominent figure in the city's underground scene, leading a network that dealt in illicit substances and operated with precision and influence. His story is one of power, ambition, and ultimately, downfall. Heard's rise to prominence was tied to his leadership within the Brick City Brim set of the Blood Street Gang, a group known for its presence in the New Community Corporation area of Newark. This neighborhood, centered around Hayes Street and 14th Avenue, became the hub of his operations. Under his direction, the organization grew into a well-structured network, distributing illicit substances and maintaining a tight grip on the area. Heard wasn't just a participant in this world. He was its architect, orchestrating the flow of goods, managing profits, and ensuring loyalty among his associates. What set Heard apart was not just his role as a supplier, but his ability to maintain control in a volatile environment. Members of his network worked together to alert each other to law enforcement presence and rival groups, creating a system of mutual protection. They shared resources, customers, and even pooled money to post bail for arrested members. This level of coordination showcased Heard's strategic mind and his ability to keep the organization running smoothly, despite constant pressure from authorities. However, Heard's operations were not without conflict. The nature of his activities often led to tense encounters, and his network was no stranger to violent incidents. These events, while not explicitly detailed in public records, underscored the dangerous reality of his world. Heard's ability to navigate these challenges further solidified his reputation as a formidable figure in Newark's underground scene. The turning point in Heard's story came in 2018, when federal authorities, working as part of the Violent Crime Initiative, began to dismantle his network. The VCI, a collaborative effort between federal, state, and local agencies, targeted individuals and groups contributing to violent crime in Newark. Heard's organization was among their primary focuses. In March 2018, he was charged alongside several others, and by April 2019, a second superseding indictment added more serious charges, including engaging in a continuing criminal enterprise. Heard's legal battles culminated in a guilty plea in 2021. He admitted to conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute illicit substances. On May 12, 2021, he was sentenced to 240 months, 20 years, in prison by U.S. District Judge Susan D. Wigington. The sentence marked the end of his reign as a key figure in Newark's illicit trade. Today, Keith Heard remains incarcerated and serving his sentence far removed from the streets he once dominated. Number 3. Akbar Pray. Akbar Pray, born Wayne B. Pray on March 22, 1948 in Newark, New Jersey, was once a name that carried weight in the shadows of the city's underground world. His story is one of ambition, power, and a dramatic fall from grace, followed by an unexpected redemption. Pray's journey began in the streets of Newark, where he transformed from a street hustler into the leader of one of the most formidable networks dealing in illicit substances during the 1970s and 1980s. His organization, known as The Family, grew to include over 300 members and operated with precision, distributing large quantities of illegal substances across Essex County and beyond. Pray's rise to prominence was marked by his ability to build a vast empire that extended its reach far beyond Newark. His network was not just a local operation. It had connections stretching from California to Florida, working with suppliers linked to major international cartels. The family didn't just deal in illegal substances, it also invested in real estate, using legitimate businesses to launder money and maintain a facade of normalcy. This dual operation showcased Pray's strategic mind and his ability to balance the risks of his illegal activities with the appearance of legitimacy. What made Pray particularly dangerous was his ability to maintain control over such a large and complex organization. The family operated like a well-oiled machine, with members working together to avoid law enforcement, share resources, and protect their territory. Pray's leadership was central to this cohesion. He was known for his charisma and intelligence, traits that allowed him to command loyalty from his associates and navigate the dangerous world he inhabited. His network was so effective that for years he was considered untouchable by authorities. However, Pray's empire began to crumble in 1988 when federal authorities indicted him under the Continuing Criminal Enterprise statute, often referred to as the Super Kingpin Law. This indictment came after years of investigation into his activities, which included the distribution of hundreds of kilograms of illegal substances and the laundering of millions of dollars. Pray was arrested in Boca Raton, Florida, and his trial became one of the most significant of its time. Lasting 7 months, the trial featured testimony from over 100 witnesses, including hotel staff, car salesmen, and retail workers, all of whom painted a picture of Pray's extravagant lifestyle, funded by his illegal operations. In 1990, Pray was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a punishment that reflected the severity of his crimes and the impact of his organization on the community. Despite being behind bars, Pray's influence persisted for a time, as the family continued to operate under his direction from prison. However, by the mid-1990s, the organization had largely dissolved, with many of its members either imprisoned or branching off on their own. While incarcerated, Pray underwent a remarkable transformation. He turned to writing, using his experiences to warn others about the dangers of the life he once led. His book, The Death of the Game, became a powerful tool for reaching at-risk youth, and he contributed regularly to publications like Don Diva magazine. Pray also founded the Akbar Pray Foundation for Change, a non-profit organization dedicated to helping underserved youth and formerly incarcerated individuals rebuild their lives. His work in prison earned him recognition and support from community leaders, educators, and even former law enforcement officials. In a dramatic turn of events, Pray's life sentence was overturned in 2024 under the compassionate release provision of the First Step Act. After serving more than 36 years, he was released on September 30th, 2024, thanks to the efforts of attorneys Isaac Wright Jr. and Peter Goldberger. Pray's release marked the end of a long and arduous chapter in his life, and he returned to Newark with a mission to give back to the community he once exploited. Today, Akbar Pray is a symbol of redemption and change. He has joined the IMU Tour, sharing his story to raise awareness about criminal justice reform and the power of second chances. Number 2. Hakeem Abdul Shahid. Hakeem Abdul Shahid, born Robert Edward Molly on March 4, 1959, in Atlantic City, New Jersey, was a figure who rose to infamy as a powerful leader in the world of organized crime. Known by the nickname Midget Molly, a reference to his height of 5 feet 2 inches, Shahid's story is one of ambition, power, and a dramatic fall from grace, followed by an unexpected transformation. His journey from a strict religious upbringing to becoming a notorious figure in the illicit substance trade is a tale of contrasts and consequences. Shahid's early life was marked by discipline and structure. Born into a large family, he was the ninth of 12 children raised by a Pentecostal pastor father and a hard-working mother. After his father's demise in 1969, the family faced financial struggles, and Shahid's path took a turn toward the streets. By the late 1970s, he had become involved in the Nation of Islam, changing his name to Hakim Ali Abdul Shahid and adopting a new identity. However, his involvement in the organization did not steer him away from crime. Instead, it became a backdrop to his rise in the underground world. By the 1980s, Shahid had established himself as a key player in the distribution of illegal substances. His network, known as the ASO Posse, operated primarily in Atlantic City, but extended its reach to cities like Syracuse, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Atlanta. Shahid's connections to international suppliers, including members of the Medellin cartel, allowed him to move large quantities of illegal substances, earning millions of dollars monthly. His operation was sophisticated, with a team of trusted distributors managing the flow of goods and money. What set Shahid apart was not just the scale of his operations, but his flamboyant personality. He was known for his extravagant displays of wealth, most notably a gold crown valued at $1.5 million, which he wore publicly as a symbol of his success. This boldness, however, also drew the attention of law enforcement. On January 1, 1989, Shahid made a grand entrance at the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, wearing his crown and surrounded by his inner circle. This act of defiance became a turning point as it fueled authorities' determination to bring him down. In February 1989, after a 7-month investigation led by the United States Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force, Shahid and 20 members of his network were arrested. The operation uncovered a distribution ring that moved over $1 million worth of illegal substances each month, primarily through Atlantic City housing projects. Shahid was charged under the federal Super Kingpin statute, which targeted leaders of large-scale criminal enterprises. Despite being suspected of involvement in multiple violent incidents across several states, he was never convicted of those crimes. In 1990, he was sentenced to over 19 years in federal prison for his role as a drug kingpin. Shahid's time in prison marked a significant shift in his life. Released in 2006, he returned to Atlantic City with a new mission: to prevent others from following the path he once took. He became an advocate for at-risk youth, speaking openly about the dangers of crime and the importance of making positive choices. Shahid also founded the D-Bear Youth Foundation, a nonprofit organization focused on addressing issues like gang violence, substance abuse, and teen pregnancy. Through his foundation, he works to provide mentorship and support to young people, helping them avoid the pitfalls he once faced. Today, Hakim Abdul Shahid lives in Atlantic City, where he continues his work as a community advocate and speaker. Number 1. Luqman Abdullah. Luqman Abdullah, a name that once struck fear into the hearts of law enforcement and residents of Elizabeth, New Jersey, was a notorious figure in the world of organized crime. His story is one of ambition, violence, and a relentless pursuit of power, which ultimately led to his downfall. Born on November 22, 1981, Abdullah's early life showed promise as a talented athlete, excelling in track and field and even playing college football. However, his path took a dark turn as he became one of the most dangerous figures in the illicit substance trade in New Jersey. Abdullah's rise to infamy began in the mid-2000s when he established himself as a key player in the illicit substance trade in Elizabeth. His operation quickly expanded into Newark, where he gained a reputation for ruthlessness and control. He was allegedly affiliated with the Bloods street gang, a connection that further solidified his dominance in the criminal underworld. Abdullah's network was vast, with estimates suggesting his operation distributed at least 2 kilograms of illicit substances weekly, generating hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. His empire was built on fear and violence, as he demanded absolute loyalty from those who worked under him. Anyone who dared to challenge his authority or source their product elsewhere faced severe consequences. One of the most chilling examples of Abdullah's brutality occurred in 2003, when he and several accomplices targeted a rival dealer. The victim was forcefully abducted, forced into the trunk of his own vehicle, and subjected to a barrage of gunfire. Miraculously, the man survived and was later rescued by a passerby who heard his cries for help. This incident, along with Abdullah's prior convictions for aggravated assault, burglary, and weapons offenses, painted a picture of a man who would stop at nothing to maintain his grip on power. Abdullah's criminal activities attracted the attention of law enforcement, leading to a 5-month investigation dubbed Operation Red Zone. On April 23, 2009, authorities executed a series of raids, seizing nearly 7 pounds of narcotics, over 800 packets of heroin, 2 handguns, an AK-47 rifle, and a significant amount of equipment used for processing and packaging illicit substances. While 23 individuals were arrested during the operation, Abdullah managed to evade capture, fleeing on foot after a dramatic chase through a mall parking lot and across a busy 6-lane highway. His ability to escape authorities only added to his legend, earning him a spot on the FBI's Most Wanted list and a feature on the television show America's Most Wanted. For 3 years, Abdullah remained at large, narrowly avoiding capture on multiple occasions. In one instance, he escaped during a traffic stop in Clifton, disappearing into the night after a high-speed chase. His luck finally ran out on December 28, 2012, when he turned himself in to the Union County Sheriff's Office. By then, his reputation as a dangerous and elusive figure was well established. In November 2016, after a 2-month trial, Abdullah was convicted on 19 charges, including racketeering, conspiracy, possession of an assault rifle, money laundering, and multiple counts related to the distribution of illicit substances. His sentencing in January 2017 marked the end of his reign. Judge Stuart Peam handed down a sentence of more than 37 years in state prison, with Abdullah required to serve 30 years before becoming eligible for parole. The prosecution described him as a narcotics trafficker responsible for distributing massive quantities of illegal illicit substances and highlighted his use of violence to achieve his goals. Today, Luqman Abdullah remains behind bars, serving his sentence for the crimes that once made him one of the most feared figures in New Jersey's criminal landscape.